Hey everyone, welcome to my first video. My name's Loctite, and I have seen a lot of videos of reasons to be excited for Classic WoW. So having played WoW since the open stress tests prior to launch, I'm here to give you my 2 cents. Hope you enjoy the following. Immersion. That feeling that comes over you when you launch the game and you hear the first couple of notes of music on the login screen. Knowing that you are entering another world, not just killing time waiting for a queue to come up while being semi-AFK in a capital city, getting whatever currency you may need for a daily quest and then logging off, or maybe logging on to another character to do it all over again. There was a sense of accomplishment when you had to actually leave the capital city, enter the contested zone, wait for your party members to get to you so you can zone into the dungeon, while hoping that you weren't presented the misfortune of another party of the opposing faction running the same dungeon at the same time. The sense of danger in the world. When you step out of Orgrimmar or Stormwind, there was a real sense of danger in whatever you may encounter, whether it be questing, and not even your elite questing, but your normal run-of-the-mill quests, or the opposing faction that wanted to gank you anywhere. I remember entering a contested zone for the first time and seeing the words Ashenvale in orange and feeling my heart skip a beat, knowing I wasn't in Kansas anymore, which no longer exists in the current state of the game due to abundance of gear at character creation. Being able to mount at level 1, so there's little or no danger when riding by a mob that aggroes you because you were tapped out looking at some cat videos.
The cat is back.
And you may continue riding by without a problem. Whereas without that mount, or that gear, you had to be completely focused on the main road, because your life really did depend on it. Sense of community. Probably the thing that I am most excited about, and I am sure many others are as well. The ability to look at a character's name passing by you in the world and knowing, hey, that's a good player. Or, that hunter never turns off his growl when he's in parties. Or seeing a member of the opposing faction and thinking, oh crap, I'm really in trouble here. This is something that has been the biggest victim in the need for convenience. Don't want to travel around the world? Just queue up. Don't want to go to the BG portal? Queue up. Want to just see raid content without putting in work to understand the boss mechanics or learning your class and role to optimize yourself to benefit the raid? Hey, just queue up for LFR. The implementation of queues and extensive cross-realm zones and sharding has made the game feel a lot more like a solo player game in a lot of circumstances. It has removed the MMO from MMORPG, which is what provided a lot of substance and kept people playing. Unlike the current state of the game, where people sub for a month, unsub, and wait for the next major patch cycle. You were an adventurer, not a champion. Now this is just my personal opinion, but I enjoyed feeling like your average Joe, exploring the world and running across a quest giver that may be in need of some help, that led to larger problems and involvement in the zone. The recent expansions have made you feel like you are the most prestigious Chuck Norris commander to ever exist, that the world revolves around you. I understand that there has to be progression in your character's deeds and renown, but it feels a bit overdone to me. The rarity of the gear. Such as the saying goes that you hear everyone say who's played for any amount of time, epics should be epic. When I look at a lot of epic items as vendor fodder instead of a rare, highly sought after item of immense power, that is when I know that there may be a saturation of purples in the game, excluding the old content of course. Remembering back to one of my first characters and being ecstatic about getting white quality male shoulders at level 22, because it may provide a small amount of armor. Or feeling that I had won the lottery when a 6-slot bag had dropped off one of the many boars in the forest that we had to kill. Actually looking at a green item and thinking, oh snap, that's an upgrade. Or even the fact that the world was not custom tailored to your character, and you may not get any items from that quest of killing a ridiculous amount of satyrs. It was a world you had to adapt to, not the world adapting to you. Faction pride.
Loktar Ogar!
Loktar Ogar, the battle cry of the Horde. Something that either made you feel inspired, or made you get completely riled up and want to find the closest low-level horde and camp him till he logs out. Feeling passionate about the horde or the alliance fueled a lot of my fondest memories in WoW, forming huge raids to PvP with, for no other reason than you get to kill some poor soul who made a character on the other faction. It saddens me to see almost complete apathy towards a faction, or faction swapping for a temporary racial change before a nerf bat hits. The only reward needed was the satisfaction of putting someone in the dirt. This is Warcraft. This is life. No real catch-up mechanics. There were little to no new quest areas to obtain higher level gear to be able to pass by an early raid tier. If you wanted to advance in raiding, you went from one tier to another. There was no exterior assistance outside Molten Core. You ran Molten Core. Then you may advance to BWL and so on. You put in time to earn your gear, which helped with the immersion in depth. You became your character. You had an actual attachment to that character, which I personally do not feel with any character I have. The intricacies of theory crafting in both PvP and PvE. So often these days, upgrades in gear are based off of one number, the eye level. Yes, there are exceptions to this rule. But to speak for the vast majority, most upgrades are so streamlined, a player requires little to no effort to know what is best for his class or his role. If it is a higher eye level, slap it on and you're good to go. The lack of thought is disappointing when compared to how itemization used to be. I would refer you to Tips Out Baby for more depth on topic of players still theory crafting PvP in Classic World of Warcraft today. The lack of knowledge and resources. One thing that sadly can never be reproduced is the mystique of the game upon launch. You can replicate the quests, the dungeons, and the gear, but you can never enter the Barrens for the first time again. Or coming up with half-baked ideas to counter boss mechanics because there were no fat boss guides to hold your hand through it, simply because of the lack of resources of WoW information. All we had to really lean on was Thoughtbot. Obviously, this will not apply for some players who are trying Classic for their first time, but it does make the list for nostalgic reasons. Gathering professions. Okay, I know this sounds a bit strange, but let me explain myself. I miss the competition of thorium farming, or farming herbs, not the idea that everyone gets to have their own personal resources. There was a finite limit to the server. You see someone mining your vein and you have to quickly size him up to see if it's worth it to engage him before he can collect all of said resource. I personally have had many good PvP encounters in these scenarios. It created organic world PvP that cannot be duplicated, and created some of your most fun rivalries with the opposing faction. Well guys, that wraps up the majority of the things that I am looking forward to, at least the major things. I want to thank you for sitting down and watching this video all the way to this point. Hopefully I covered some of the things that you're also looking forward to. If you liked the video, let me know. Drop a like or a dislike if you didn't like it. Either way, let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, take care.